Coming up, we'll talk about planning your vacation using Tripit.com, and we'll demystify some of the technology around the RFID chips that are coming to Walt Disney World. Plus, we'll tell you what we're geeking out on this week in this episode of the Diz Tech Talk. Go ahead. Why do I call it Tech Talk?
I have no idea.
The first one.
This is Diz Unplugged, episode 591 for the week of March 26th, 2013. Apparently, I've changed the name of this show to Diz Tech Talk. Hello, everyone. I am your host, Pete Warner, coming to you live from the Bob Varley studio in Orlando, Florida. And this is actually Diz Travel Tech.
Yes.
Travel Tech is the name of this show, not Diz Tech Talk. And I'm joined by my co-host in Houston, Texas, the lovely and talented Mr. Mike Holland. Hello, Mike.
Hello.
And joining me here in the studio, Shaun Thompson, along with Corey Martin, and, of course, our producer, Dustin West, and assistant producer, Craig Williams.
That's right.
And we have a lot. We have been talking about doing this show for quite a while. We were thinking about doing a regular series of segments on this topic a year ago. And then when we started talking about bringing the show onto video, we figured let's do it once we're on video and we can show off some of the stuff we want to talk about. So we're excited to be doing this. We've been talking about it for a while. Before we get started, I'm actually going to start the show off talking about something that is not necessarily tech-related. And I am going to put a blog up on this in the next couple of days. I want to tell you people how much I love Delta Airlines. I absolutely love Delta. I've been flying Delta for a few years now. I used to hate them. And I'll put details in the blog, but to give you an idea, you know, anybody who follows the show knows that I fly quite a bit. I'm traveling quite a bit. This year's no exception. And I've had really great experiences with Delta. Was not the case 12 years ago when I vowed I would never step foot in another Delta flight. But then something happened today that just, I think, is the best customer service. We just came back from California. And I've been getting these phone calls the last few days from a number I didn't recognize, a local number here in Orlando. I didn't recognize, and if I don't know the number, usually I'm not going to answer the phone. And they weren't leaving a voicemail, so I figured, you know, it's just some spam call. Well, today they left a voicemail, and it was Delta Baggage Services at Orlando International Airport. When the team travels, I usually make all the arrangements, and they had my phone number. And they left a message saying that, wanting to know if Craig had left a piece of electronic equipment on the plane. So I get Delta, I call this woman back, I get Craig on the phone, we conference him in. And she's asking Craig, did you leave something on the plane? And he goes, I don't think so. She's like, you didn't leave an iPod on the plane? And Craig goes, oh, I haven't unpacked yet. Now, mind you, we got home like 100 years ago. And he goes and he looks, and sure enough, he did. He left his iPod on the plane. This woman must have called my phone 5 times. Now, lesser customer service could have just, you know, I tried calling, nobody answered. It's going to sit here for 90 days, and at the end of 90 days, I'm going to take it home and listen to this guy's music.
Janet Jackson.
Barry Manilow.
Yeah.
Barry Manilow. He's a fan of Low. He really isn't. But I've had this kind of customer service from Delta since I started flying them again in 2010. I know everybody loves to hate on airlines, and I know everybody's got a story about how Delta did this or they did that. I'm just telling you, I love Delta Airlines. I wanted to say it. I'm going to write a blog about it because, you know what, that's really good customer service. Why I wanted to start our first episode of the Travel Tech with that, I don't know, but I wanted to get that out there. We're going to start off talking about what we're geeking out on this week. And Mike, why don't we go to you first? What are you geeking out on this week? What piece of technology has you going this week?
Well, what piece of technology has me going? And we all have iPods, iPhones, iDevices, and things that that all have a 30-pin connector on them. And now that Apple is moving away from the 30-pin connector and they're going to the lightning plug, I have all these 30-pin devices everywhere that are pretty much obsolete until I dropped one of these guys on them. This is a Bluetooth adapter that slips on top of the 30-pin adapter and makes all those 30-pin dock devices, even the cables, makes them Bluetooth devices.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So if you got an Android phone, a legacy iPhone, or a new iPhone, anything like that, you can drop that on there, and that device is no longer defunct. It's usable again. And the nice thing is, all these 30-pin devices are hitting all the sales right now because everybody's trying to offload them, getting ready for whatever new iDevices come in with the lightning plug on them.
Wow, that's really cool. I haven't seen that. Something else I need to buy because I haven't bought enough. I haven't bought enough this week.
Well, the whole reason for this show, I think you need to explain, is that so Pete can go to Best Buy every week to feature something else.
Did I need an excuse before that? Although I will say this week was particularly harrowing. I think they're going to put my picture up in my local Best Buy this week. My geek of the week is I kind of stumbled onto this because I wasn't planning on buying one, but we were having some challenges with some equipment here in the studio, and as we were troubleshooting, we realized that we thought we needed a Windows machine to help. Now, this is a Macintosh house. Macs everywhere. Not a PC to be seen. I haven't really touched a PC in a very, very long time. So I bought a machine that was Windows 8. And I got to tell you, I thought Windows 8 was pretty cool.
It is.
I like it. I like it. And I haven't played with it a lot. I'm not going to say I've played with it a lot, but what I've played around with, I really like. So when I was over at Best Buy on this insane shopping trip, I picked up the Microsoft Surface Pro, which is sitting here in front of me. I'm not going to pick it up because it's like hooked into a lot of things, but this is their cross between a tablet and Ultrabook, basically. It's that's the start screen, and it's all touch, and it's really cool. And if you can't live without your typical Windows desktop, well, that's that. That's me.
It's your
There.
script.
Yep. Now you
Bad
can.
touch. Bad touch.
Bad touch. Bad touch. There's your typical Windows desktop. I have to tell you, you can cut from this. I have to tell you, I was really impressed with this, and it's an actual computer. It's actually running an Intel. I think it's the i5 Intel processor. It's running a scaled down version of it,
Right.
but it runs pretty much all the software you would run on Windows. There are some pieces of software that won't work with it, but the Office Suite works with it. Full Office Suite works with it. I'm not going to say it is as comfortable or portable a tablet as the iPad is, because it's not. It weighs more. It's thicker.
Yeah.
But it's got this great keyboard that is also a cover that I'm going to be honest with you. It's one of the most comfortable keyboards I've ever typed on.
Do you find yourself going back and forth between operating systems on a regular basis? Or do you just, like, I'm all Mac?
Well, no, I had no intention of buying a Windows machine until we had this technical issue in the studio this week. But then after I got one and I started playing with it, I started thinking that, okay, if we're going to do these tech shows,
Right.
that, you know, most of our audience is not going to be using a Mac. They're going to be using Windows machines. Some of our audience, I know for a fact, uses Android phones.
Yeah.
Not everybody's using Mac. So if we're going to do these shows, somebody
That's good.
should be, looking at some of the other stuff here.
Somebody.
Somebody, yeah.
And I'm here for you. I'm here for you. I'm a giver.
That's good.
As John called me yesterday, gay Jesus. I got to tell you, look, I'm some people on my Facebook page were like, "Oh, welcome back." No. I love my Mac. Here's the thing. I haven't had to restart computers this much in years since I brought a Windows machine back into this house. Windows still has its issues, and troubleshooting is a real part of the Windows experience. It's not something I deal with very often on my Mac.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. It's not only are we doing this show and we want to be able to showcase certain applications, certain products on both Mac and Microsoft. How many times have we run into a piece of software that could be really useful for us that says only available
Windows
on Windows
only, all the time.
So it happens, and I'm glad we have a couple machines now that...
Well, we can.
This kind of goes with what Corey was saying, but do you see this fitting into your workflow? Like, do you?
That's
think
what I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting to see when the novelty wears off.
Yeah.
See, for me, the test is, when I got my first iPad. Well, this is not my first iPad, but when I got my first iPad, of course you use it like all the time because it's cool and it's new. And then like a month later, if a month later I'm still using this, then yes, it fits into my workflow. But if I was somebody who was working on Windows all the time and I needed to have full featured programs and a real keyboard and basically a real computer that's almost as portable as a tablet, this is great. Now, look, $1,000 for the Surface Pro. This is not cheap.
Nope.
That's the top of the line, though.
That's their top of the line one. This is 128 gigs of memory.
The most basic version starts at $499, and then you go up from there.
Right. That's running a version of Windows called
it's like Easter basket
Windows
stuff.
RT.
Yeah.
And so that's not, you can run apps, Microsoft apps, you can't run Microsoft software on that one. On the Pro version, you can actually run, like I said, I've got the full version of Office 2013 on here, which Microsoft has my favorite piece of software that I really cannot get on a Mac.
Brick Breaker?
What's that?
Brick Breaker?
Not Brick Breaker, no. Microsoft OneNote, I think, is the best organization note-taking software out there. And I love it. And on the Surface, it's unbelievable because the pen that comes with the Surface, it really is very comfortable to write on, handwrite, which I like to do. So I was thrilled to have OneNote back in the mix. So this is what I'm geeking out on right now. Now we'll see the next time we do this show if I'm still geeking out on this. If you see a Mac sitting here in front of me, you'll know that the Surface has joined the pile of dead electronics that.
I have to use Windows every day, and not always by choice, but I find it kind of disconcerting that they're still using the same operating system that was designed for Windows 95 and just stacked on all the way up until 2013 for this version of OS. So,
well, but isn't this Windows 8 version, isn't this basically all new?
Just the UI, the user interface side is the newer part of it, but it's still Windows 7, which was based on, a better version of Windows Vista, which was a better version of Windows 2000, which was Windows NT, and then back to which is the best branch of the Windows 95 was the Windows NT side. So I think you're still using that same core base operating system, but I think Mac took it a whole nother level when they went to OS X.
Yeah, look, I love my Mac. Don't get me wrong. I'm not giving up the ghost on my Mac by any means, but I'm digging this thing. This is I think the interface is awesome. The touch screen on this is absolutely ridiculous. How responsive it is, really comfortable to use. I'm digging it. So this is what I'm.
We need a little plug-in sound for Geeking Out of the Week or something.
We need some kind of for Geek of the Week.
Yeah.
Geek of the Week.
Don't ever do that.
There we go.
Scary.
All right, so Shaun, what are you geeking out on?
I'm geeking out on something that I no longer have, which is really sad.
Well, this is by comparison. I just told you the story about Delta and what they did with a piece of misplaced electronics that Craig had left. So let's talk about the TSA.
Yeah. So my geek out of the week is the Nike FuelBand, which is the bracelet that Dustin's wearing, and so is Pete. There it is. Pete has the black one. And so basically we're up at 6:30 in the morning going through security at Orlando International Airport. Yeah. And I took everything out of my pockets. I took my belt off, and I was just about to step into the machine where you put your arms up and it scans you for...
Takes a picture.
It takes a naked picture of you.
Nasty parts.
Yeah. And I thought, oh, I still have my band on, so I took it off real fast, threw it in the bin, and walked through the machine. When I got out the other side, I took everything out, missed the Nike FuelBand.
Well, because you had the clear one.
I have the clear white one, and the bins they use are white.
So it really looked... he didn't see it.
I didn't see it. So I got everything, and so I walked over to Dustin, who was putting his shoes on, and he said, oh, you got your Nike FuelBand. And I ran over back to the security.
Checked all the bins, too. Keep in mind, this was 3 minutes after he walked through security.
And it wasn't there. I went through the bins were in a stack, and so I opened every one, hoping to find it in that
you
stack.
had a look of horror on your face.
No, I was so
somebody
upset.
from the TSA is wearing it.
Has extra points.
He checked with Lost and Found.
But anyway, I love the Nike FuelBand, and I probably will be getting another one.
If you'd left it on a Delta plane, you'd have it back. Yeah.
I know, that's the thing. I just left it in the wrong spot. But the thing about the Nike FuelBand is it tracks your movements, your calories that you've burned, the steps you take, and different analytics.
Well, it also has its own brand of it's called Nike Fuel.
Yeah, which are kind of vague, but
yeah,
essentially it's just how many times the bracelet moves. So you wave
if you go to Nike's website, they have this whole long thing about how they figure out Nike Fuel, and it's this and that's that. It's incomprehensible.
But it does keep you motivated because you see how many points you've tallied for the day.
Or how many points you haven't.
So, and then you sync it with your phone in your computer, and so it lines everything up in a graph so you can see perfectly what you've done. So.
I haven't even done half my goal for today. My goal is 3,000 Nike Fuel points a day.
You can control your goals.
I'm
Some
at
people
13.
leave it at 2,000.
I'm at 1385. Well, even if I was at 2,000, I'm not there.
Yeah.
So.
2119.
Shut up.
Oh, I don't know what I've done today.
But it is a great way.
It's every time you move your hand, though, right?
Basically.
And then, then when you sync it up, it like tells you like how many miles you walked and all this other cool stuff.
Yeah, and then if you reach your goal, it has this little animation, so it's kind of fun to watch and it keeps track of everything. So
this is something I pinned on Pinterest several months ago. I wanted to get one, and now I'm researching, especially after the whole CSS conference took place. There's another one similar to it. It's not out yet. It's called the Fitbit Flex. It does everything the FuelBand does, but it tracks your sleep. And I think I need that to
your beauty sleep.
So he can get a graphic representation of the hour and a half a night that he sleeps.
Exactly. I think I need that more than anything to tell me if I'm sleeping good, if I'm restless. But I'm looking forward. I think it comes out in May 1st. Fitbit Flex, and they have several colors too.
That's a good company too. There's a couple questions in chat. The way you sync it is you can either do it through Bluetooth to your phone, and that's really easy, or you can also just disconnect it, and it turns into a USB.
Turns into a USB.
And you just plug that right into your computer.
And this end here
just plugs into your computer.
Plugs right into a USB port in your computer and syncs it up.
Is it waterproof?
I'm guessing so. Because
no, it says water resistant. So I think if you wash your hands with it on,
so no swimming.
Fine, but I wouldn't dive into a pool with it.
No.
You know how many points you get swimming?
Seriously.
Well, you'll just have to get like on the edge of the pool, do this. Yeah. So that.
I think Corey's in trouble because the next time he cuts a steak,
Well, he only gets 3 cuts in.
But I am looking at a fork though that vibrates if you eat too fast.
You have never ever seen a human being consume food like Corey Martin.
Well, they made a fork for me then. It'll vibrate
and not gain any weight.
Oh. I throw it up.
That's why he's doing the tasting.
I'm kidding. Oh no, I'm joking.
Oh wow.
I need to go take a break.
Oh, Craig. All right, so Corey, what are you geeking out on this week?
Mine's actually a two-parter. All revolves around the camera. Let's see if I can pull up the site. It's the iFi wireless SD card. It syncs your photos that you take from your camera, whether it's an SLR or any sort of handheld camera, to your iPhone, Android device, computer. There we go.
Well, you got to hit done.
No, I'm here.
No, you got to hit done up top. Now it's there.
There we go. I'm trying to sync my...
We're going to switch over to Corey's phone.
There we go.
There we go.
There are several varieties. I have the 16 gig plus Wi-Fi, of course, just around $99. Now, what this does, like I said, as you take a photo in your camera, it'll send these photos to your phone, Android device, so you can take these and send them to Twitter, Facebook, email them to people. I originally bought this for work, thinking if I was going to be at a press event or media event, I can, instead of taking a photo with my phone, I can take a higher quality with my camera and send it out to the World Wide Web and email it or use it on social network. It works great for family too. I was at the Flower and Garden Festival the other day, and I was with Julie. I was taking all these photos on my camera. They were going to my phone on the ride back. Julie was looking through my phone, seeing all the photos she liked, and she was emailing to herself or texting them to herself. Yeah. And before we got home, they were already on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
Yep.
The photos from my camera, high quality, straight to your phone. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Part 2 is the flash, the hot shoe that actually connects. I assume it would hold a Android device, but I think it's mainly for iPhones. It'll connect to the flash dock on top of your camera, where you can just plug your phone into it. So you're kind of like wireless, hands-free.
Right.
And so you're just walking around the park, taking photos. As you take them, they go to your...
Corey gets stopped all the time. We got him, too, because I saw Corey's. I'm like, I got to have that. But he's going to...
have it with me.
Our spokesmodel is going to demonstrate.
Yeah, see? There we go.
Just plugs.
Fingerprints and all.
Need one of those.
And so I have two memory cards in here. The first one is like just a compact flash. The second one's the SD card. And so I have 3 backups of every photo I take, both on each memory card and also on the phone, wherever I send it. It's beautiful.
And these
I
will
love
work,
this.
if you don't have the, $8,000 Canon camera that he does, iFi cards will work in any camera that takes an SD card.
Right.
Well, there's a compatibility table on their website. Just go select your camera, and then it'll show you all the models it works with, so you don't buy this sucker, and it doesn't work. And it's not only available online. You can get it at Best Buy.
Oh, sorry, Corey. There's one little caveat that you have to be careful of when you're using a Wi-Fi card or an iFi card, is if your camera is very dense, the wireless signal does not go very far. So it's good to have the phone very, very close to the Wi-Fi card, to the iFi card. That's
why I found this flash dock very handy. It's very close to the camera, and it's always going back and forth. But one thing, it completely drained my phone battery. It completely drained my camera battery.
It's constantly checking through Wi-Fi.
Yeah, so that you definitely be prepared with that. Have some sort of charging device for your phone, or some sort of charging device or extra battery for your camera, because it'll drain it.
Right.
But it's worth it. I love it.
Yeah, and we saw him using it at Flower and Garden, and then I had to go and buy like all of them for all of us. So we're walking around Disneyland looking like,
it was very helpful.
Something out of a sci-fi movie.
I loved it because you could take the photos and then put them on Instagram or Facebook, like you said Julie did. The only thing sometimes is it's too high quality for those services. So what I found out was you could like resize them in your phone and then import that into Instagram.
I didn't have that problem in California.
It happened to me multiple times.
Really?
I know on Instagram one time I tried to upload a photo and it was too high quality. It kept knocking it out. So I make sure this will send a RAW file also to your phone.
Yeah, but you don't want to do that.
No, you don't want to do that. So I make sure that this secondary card it's less quality, and it's not going to bog my phone down with so much space.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I'm sorry, Mike, go ahead.
I was going to say, the other beautiful thing is if you've got iPhoto on your iPhone, you can go in and resize it and do any of the any cropping or anything else you want to do in the iPhoto, and then upload it straight from there too.
Yeah, that's true. I was doing that too. Doing some basic adjustments on the photos in iPhoto on the phone, and then putting them right up to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and the quality of the pictures you end up putting up. If you take a look at the pictures that we put up on
Oh, yeah.
Instagram during our Diz Goes West event last week or 2 weeks ago. You'll see. I mean, some of those pictures really phenomenal.
Dustin, does it work with video too?
With, you know,
It will. It technically it has a setting there to transfer video.
Okay.
I haven't been able to get it to work just because either in the settings on the camera or on the photo app on the phone, I couldn't figure out how to work. But you say it does have a setting?
I'm almost positive.
it was just someone asked in chat, so I wanted to ask.
And somebody asked in Facebook, this is a Canon Mark III.
Oh,
So
there you go.
that's what this is.
5D.
5D Mark III.
I could have sworn there was. I'll have to look, but
I haven't gotten it to work yet, but I'm sure that it either does have that or it will in the future.
Yeah.
I just haven't figured it out.
so. Well,
When you're
Dustin,
shooting 2 gigs worth of video, you're going to eat up your phone.
Yeah,
real quick.
exactly.
yeah, it really does. It really chews through your phone battery quite a bit. It's pretty inctense. But Dustin, what are you geeking out on?
Well, when we were in Disneyland, we went over to the sunglass hut or sun icon that they have over there, and I actually I got to take my headphones off for this, so bear with me here. I can't hear you, Mike. I found these glasses. Me and Pete found these glasses, and they are. Let me see. I have to.
I wet myself when I
Yeah.
saw these.
These are.
Oh,
these
please
are,
don't videotape while you do that.
These are really cool. They're called the Pivot Head Wearable Imaging, and they are glasses, sunglasses. They're polarized lenses, the ones that I happen to get, and they actually have a camera built in right in between. I think you might be able to see that in between the lenses there, and
I'm supposed to be going to these websites, aren't I?
that would be good. You could see some of the different options. But the Pivot Head Wearable Imaging, you are able to put these bad boys on, turn the power on, and then you can record video from right here. And so I'm recording video right now where it's 1080. It runs at 30 frames per second. Oh, there's Mike. Do you want to say something, Mike?
Oh, no, I was just waving at
Oh,
you.
hey. So I'm taking video right now. I can also, just in the middle of my video, I can snap a photo. And it's 1080. Again, it's either 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second. It doesn't have any progressive.
You look like you're stoned.
I'm so, but it's really
Tom
cool. and I
Cruise.
think
He's
this
got
would
the
be
Tom
really
Cruise
cool
mojo
for
working.
people that want to do some videos of riding a roller coaster or something like that. Something point of view videos. These are pretty cool. I love them, and the image quality is really great, and the sound quality is, it really picks up the person that's wearing the glasses. Anything else is kind of distant and tinny, but
So it's like a POV with just breathing.
well, no, it doesn't pick it up that much.
Are these legal?
Blair Witch.
Yes, they are.
Not at Typhoon Lagoon or Blizzard.
So yeah, you can see a closer
joke.
image there. There's a bunch of different options. They run at $29.99.
No, they're $299.
Pick one your local CVS.
He wasn't paying for them, so he has no concern as
Sorry,
to
wrong thing.
he has no care of what the price was. No, they were $300.
Well, it's so small I can't see. It's $300 for this pair of glasses, not $30. But they're really cool, and you get a great image. And I'm actually still recording, so I'm gonna.
And you don't have a hood ornament like having a GoPro on.
And I will tell you the video really is really good.
Yeah.
It's surprisingly impressive video. The quality of the photos also surprisingly good.
The only problem I had is they get a little uncomfortable after a few
Yeah.
hours.
They're heavy?
They're not heavy. They pinch my head a little bit. I got a large cranium.
He's got this freakishly large melon head.
But they're fun. They're fun. It's cool. And then of course, people don't. You want to be courteous and tell people that you're filming them.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
No, you don't.
Yeah, sure you do. But they plug in just via USB 2.0. Plugs right into your computer, and iPhoto will
No, we
recognize.
have. We shouldn't have told Shaun that we had those. So the next time he starts explaining Smash to us.
Oh God.
We could have been videotaping him.
Yeah, you should tell people when you're taking photos of them.
Yeah.
There was
Especially
this
in
one
the bathroom.
photo he took of me on Small World. He's in the front seat. I'm in the back seat. And the photo, I'm just like giving him this weird look because why are you staring at me?
That's because I kind of did this.
What? At least you weren't the subject of vines. That made you look so incredibly awkward.
It's like, why is he staring at me during Small World with sunglasses on?
Yeah.
He's got the perv POV camera.
But that's my thing. So.
All right, Dustin. Craig, what about you? What are you geeking out on?
Mine is the GoPro Hero 3. I've never used one of these before. We went to Disneyland, and then I actually shot a bunch of ride-throughs with them. If you've been to a theme park, you've seen them in the past 2-3 years. Everyone has them. And they're really nice, small, tiny cameras. The picture looks amazing on it. The sound's not great, so you don't want it if you want all the good background music, everything going on. They kind of have different cases that come with it as well, so that way if you want to take it underwater or on a water ride, then you're able to do that with the case that's completely sealing it in. But at the same time, if you want better sound quality, you can have cases that let the microphone air a little more. You get a little better sound quality on that. It's really great camera though. The California Screamin' video that is on YouTube right now, that was shot on it. And if you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. Yeah. It looks beautiful. We have about like 5 or 6 more that I actually shot with it that'll be coming out. And I'm going to use this all the time whenever I'm doing ride-throughs on roller coasters and stuff. It works really great. Disney has given me no issues with it whatsoever. Universal will give you a ton of issues with it, so don't plan on using one of these there, but it's awesome. I love this thing.
Well, there's also the head mount and the chest mount that go along with these.
Yeah,
so.
You can attach it to your chest. You can attach it to your head. I'm already planning on shooting a segment with Kathy and Teresa in the future where it's going to be attached to my head. So that one's coming.
I'm not going to touch that. Live show.
After hours.
Now, I will say Disney Cruise Line has given me grief about it, putting it on my head and going down the aqueduct. But but taking it parasailing, had no issues. Strapped it on my head and just let it fly, and there were no issues with that. But DCL has been the only place where I've had any issues with it.
Now with the GoPro, there's a lot of guesswork, right? Because there's no viewable screen where you can see your shot.
Well, actually, we have the version of the GoPro that comes with the Wi-Fi backpack. So it's a little bit thicker than the other one. So it attaches on the back. It sends out a Wi-Fi signal to your iPhone. You can download the app onto your iPhone, and you can actually preview. You can preview what you're seeing there.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a delay on it. It's probably about 2 seconds, but it can at least give you a good idea.
It can at least you're not shooting your knees.
Yeah, you can frame your shot.
But yeah.
Yep, that's it.
GoPro.
Cool.
Combine it with the glasses, you're set.
Yep.
Yeah,
I love
really.
my GoPro.
See, now GoPro is normally, for people who are doing like extreme sports, skiing and snowboarding and stuff like that, or extreme nerds who are using them for ride-throughs.
Right.
But it is, if you look links to all of this, by the way, on the show notes page, disunplugged.com.
And they take beautiful time-lapse pictures, too. I've stuck it up at Animal Kingdom and taken time-lapse of the animals in the
oh, wow.
The common areas, and just do a time-lapse. It'll take a picture once every 2 seconds, and then you just make a time-lapse video.
That's great. I didn't realize they did time-lapse on these. That's cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're very cool. Very, very cool indeed. So, all right. So that's what we are geeking out on this week. There are a couple of things that we want to talk about in a little bit more depth. First, we're going to turn it over to Mike, and Mike has some interesting equipment to show us regarding RFID. RFID being the subject of a lot of discussion lately with Disney's announcement that they're going to the Magic Bands, which are RFID. Room keys are RFID. Well, the Magic Bands become your room key, which is all RFID. And there have been security concerns and lots of discussions about how that is going to work. And Mike is going to talk a little bit about that. So we'll switch over to him.
All right. Well, with the Magic Bands rolling out, I know a lot of people have had concerns, and it's mainly centered around more of the data that Disney has and what they're collecting on you, and how much they're getting, and how they're going to disseminate it. Are they going to sell it? Because Google makes its money off of collecting data. And then selling that data to people. I don't know that Disney does that with all of our customer data to that extent, but I'm sure they sell some periphery of that. Plus, every time you check a box on their web page, it's you can. They're wanting permission to be able to share that with their partners. But the technology behind the Magic Bands is actually kind of neat. The RFID chip is very small, and most of the technology is in the antenna. So I have an old RFID tag here that I had taken off, and I've got the insides of it. So as you can see, only the little part right in here is the actual RFID. And the rest of that is nothing but antenna.
Oh.
So everybody who's thinking they're going to go slice and dice up their Magic Band and make a nice little magic necklace, remember that you might be cutting into the antenna that actually makes it work, because the chip is so small that it has to have a large antenna footprint. And then to read them, you actually have to have a reading device that actually sends a radio signal to the unit for it to activate. So have you ever seen the wireless chargers for cell phones? I know I've got 2 of them. You just set your phone down, and then it just starts charging the battery.
Right.
So that's the way the RFID works. This sends a radio emitted charge to the RFID, and it responds back once it receives that. So, and as you can see, the reader is really small, and depending on what size antenna they put on this guy, they can read those things from pretty far away. And I guess that's going to be the beauty of the Magic Band, is it can be read from a good distance away.
Well, define good distance. I mean, are we talking about a few feet? Are we talking about several feet, 10s, 20 feet? I mean,
so this guy, they can be read from a distance of about 30 to 40 feet.
Oh, wow.
on the freeway, and depending on the antenna array, it could be as much as 100 to 150 feet away.
Did you take apart your sun pass or something?
Is that what that is?
Well, this is my old Texas tag.
Okay.
So this is off my last car. So, but that's what's inside of it. They used to have one that had a battery in it, but those died after 5 years. So, and I've got a couple of different RFIDs that we use in my work, that we use to track equipment. So they're very small. They can be put in merchandise or anything else without too many folks knowing it. They can be attached to the bottom of a cup, as in with all the new cups that are going to be at all the resorts.
The refillable mugs, yeah.
That's right. And where I see the security loophole for most people is that anybody can read anybody else's RFID. Now, the data that it's attached to doesn't mean anything, but it gives somebody a really good tracking mechanism.
Right. What people need to understand is that the only data that's actually going to be stored on the RFID is
the ID itself.
Is the ID itself. If without connecting into Disney's computer system to pull up all the information associated with that ID, you're not going to get anything from that. The band itself does not have any personal information on it.
It's
no
just
credit
an
cards,
ID.
No addresses, phone numbers, eye color, none of that.
It's just a number. But at the same token, every time you walk by, and if you've got a driver's license with an RFID card or anything like that, every time you walk by one of the Disney sensors, they're going to get that number too. Anytime that you have, like if you have a passport card or a passport that's got an RFID tag or a credit card, every time you go by a sensor, that number is also read off of there. Not that it can do too much, but it's another tracking mechanism for Disney. They can follow that number around even if they don't mean to.
Do you think, but do you think they're actually going to? Do you think that they'll...
Oh, I think everything they read goes into a database. I mean, they're not being selective about it. I mean, And as the number passes by a reader, it goes into a nondescript database that logs all of that.
So you think credit? I just want to be clear here. You think credit card information, not originally provided to Disney, is going to be collected by Disney?
Yeah, very possibly. I mean,
and isn't that against the law, though?
Well, it's not the credit card information. It's the RFID that's attached to the credit card.
Right.
So,
right. Okay. So it's the same thing that on your credit card is not actually your credit card number on the RFID, but
some sort of identification.
Some identification that only matters to the bank.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I have a question.
But remember, they also have access into that bank, though, because they are running credit card transactions also. So they have duality into both worlds.
So you mentioned that the range was pretty far, like 30 or 40 feet. How do they control whether you're actually redeeming your fast pass versus just walking by the attraction?
I think the specific area readers are going to be they're not going to have quite the range as an easy tag or anything that's looking to look at distance, but those type of things are going to have a very short area around them, short proximity.
So they're going to limit that so you're not just walking by and accidentally
redeem your fast pass without knowing it. Yeah,
bought somebody else's.
But talking Mickey Mouse is going to have a gun that looks like a bazooka that reads your card at 200 feet away, so he knows that you're Pete or Dustin or Corey.
Wow. No, it's I'm interested to see what it is they end up doing with these. They keep pushing back when these magic bands are coming out. Originally, we heard March, then we heard April. Now we're hearing late spring, early summer.
Late spring.
Which,
just test and adjust.
Test and adjust. TNA.
I have my annual pass right here.
Yep.
That's the new one.
What I like on the back for annual passes, they have the parking, the little red parking notice, and with also the date. So when you're going through parking, the parking attendant like 50 miles an hour, you can just flash it and go.
I didn't look on our APs, but I know for guest Key to the World cards, you can actually see the chip. If you hold it against the light, there's like a little indentation in the white.
Yep.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I also noticed like on rides like Test Track that when you go in, they give you an RFID card to scan so you can memorize your car profile when you design it, right? Well, I was just able to use my resort pass as the RFID for that because remember it's indescript. It just reads a number. It doesn't care what type of RFID tag it is.
Yeah, I was actually just at Test Track 2 nights ago, and now they do have the signs with your hotel key card picture on it. They're trying to get people to actually use their hotel key cards all the time if they do have them, or your annual passes, so that way they don't have to constantly give out the little white tags they were giving out before. Now you always have it with you. You don't have to give it back.
I think a lot of people were walking off with them.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I think things like the hats for the glow with the show. I think they're going to have embedded RFID with that also. So
where's my hat?
Directly behind you.
You need a swivel chair.
That's going to be more for an interactive show experience. You can walk into an area, your hat registers, all that fun stuff.
Well, I mean, so what are they doing with these? How are they making these glow with the show?
Those use a different type of technology that's called Zigbee, and it's what we use in the.
It's called what?
Zigbee, Zigbee, and what it does is it allows the hats to talk to each other and talk to a base station, so they all know who's doing what.
And then what happens during World of Color out in California Adventure? Everybody's glow with the show hats all change color at the same time in unison.
Or independently.
It's really cool. It's really cool to watch. And these are fun.
I just wish more people had them on during the show.
Yeah.
We got a little spoiled, didn't we, Corey?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
So everybody in front of us had them on.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's switch from talking about RFID chips to talking about probably my single most used tool when I am planning a trip. and that is the website tripit.com, TRIPIT.com. And this really is something else. It is basically a way for you to manage and organize your vacations. You get you book your airfare, you book your hotel, restaurants, car rental, whatever it is. You get your confirmation email, and you forward that email to tripit.com using the email address you registered with.
Right.
It knows it's you. It puts it right into your itinerary. And for example, if you switch to my screen, you'll see I have a trip there for May of 2013 at the Wilderness Lodge. And when I forwarded it to Tripit, there it was, my confirmation number, all the information about my trip. Oh, apparently I've gone too far. All the information about my trip shows up. It's really neat. It's really neat.
And so you can literally just take the email that Disney sent you for confirmation.
That's all you do.
And forward it.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
You just take the confirmation you get. Now, most services work with this. Hotels, rental cars, airlines. There are some confirmations that Tripit can't read. So when you forward those to Tripit, it just attaches it to your account as a note. And then you can go ahead and enter it manually. But
I've noticed that when it sees the email confirmations come into your email account, it goes and scrubs mine, and then it pulls those out and imports them for me.
Oh, I didn't know it could do that.
Yeah, it automatically detects a hotel reservation or an airline reservation, automatically populates Tripit for me, and then Christy will see it, and whoever else is in my travel profile will also get populated with that.
Well, that's it. You can also create, you can share these. You can share these itineraries with the people you're traveling with. We have a trip coming up in May. Shaun, Dustin, and I, and Craig, and they're all shared on that Tripit itinerary, so they can see everything. They can see all the reservations we have. What I really like is that they have a great iPhone app. Let me go ahead and pull that up. And I'll just give you an example here of what you do with this. So there's a confirmation for breakfast at Whispering Canyon. All I do is forward it to plans at Trip, if I can spell, tripit.com, and send it. Oh, I've been having trouble sending email from this phone. This may not go through. Just remember that now. And then, ideally speaking, it would show up in the app, which it's not going to because I think my email's having trouble sending.
That's okay.
But it would show up in the app, and the app is awesome. There are a couple of versions of Tripit. You have a free version of Tripit, which is all the itinerary planning and sharing. You have a paid version, which I believe is $49 a year. Here, I'll tell you something. The paid version of it for me paid for itself once. It will track the price you paid for your airfare.
And it only accepts deluxe resorts in first class, right?
Right. It tracks the price you paid for your airfare and keeps checking to see if the price has gone down. And, for example, one of my trips, the price did go down, saved me $240.
Oh, well, there you go.
Because Delta will honor a refund if the price goes down. And Tripit notified me of it. I got a push notification to my phone, called Delta, and got a $240 credit on that trip right there, paid for itself. I absolutely love this. I think
It works for you, it sounds like. I've never used it, but it sounds like it's an app and a website that works for you. You don't have it.
Yes.
I love it because it's like a
Absolutely.
digital version of what my mom used to do when we were growing up. She would make this folder with all the printouts of our hotel stuff, our driving directions, everything that we would need along the way. But this is just like a digital version that you can have on multiple devices, take it with you.
Right. It's always with you. It works. There's the app is available for Android phones. There's an iPad app, iPhone app. Of course, it works on your PC. You can also add. I really like the fact that you can add individual notes to each day.
Right. So detailed descriptions of your day,
which we did in California.
Right.
As I planned certain things out, what we wanted to make sure we hit that day and what we covered that day. So you can add special notes to it. Like I said, you can choose who you share it with. And it will also automatically update all your calendars. If you attach it to your Google Calendar or Outlook, it will update your calendars with the information. The Pro version is free for 30 days, then costs $49 a year. And it will also send you, the Pro version also sends you mobile alerts about flight delays, cancellations, and gate changes. That has been really helpful for me. Sometimes Tripit knows about it before Delta does, apparently.
Yeah.
I also like that the Pro version will show you alternate flight options. If a flight gets canceled, delayed, and you need to get out, it will search alternate flights and alternate routes and give you options.
Does it offer a printable version of your itinerary too?
You can print them out, sure.
You can print them out, yeah. And I know when we last summer, it was busy travel season for us because we went on the last podcast cruise during the summer. We took Jeff and Val's grandson with us, and Jeff and I were able to share all of our plans together and be able to have some semblance of order to all the schedules. Since we were taking their grandson with us from Houston and flying to Florida, we were able to get all of our schedules aligned, know when everybody was coming in, and be able to know when we were going to do handoffs and all that fun stuff, plus have all the itineraries for the cruise. And the same thing when we went on the Backstage Magic in August and in July. It was the same type of thing. Jeff and I kind of scheduled our stuff around what we had in Tripit, so it worked out very well.
Right. Well, especially for compulsive trip planners, this is an amazing tool. It's probably one of the most useful websites I've found for trip planning, and it's I've used it. I've used it for every trip I've taken for the last 2 or 3 years, I think. And I absolutely swear by this. So the free version allows you to do the itinerary planning, add the notes, share with your friends. The Pro version adds some of these other features. It also, one of the other things the Pro version does is it keeps track of all your loyalty points. So your Starwood points, your Hilton Honors points. Most airlines, for whatever reason, not Delta. Delta doesn't let other apps access its Sky Miles. I don't know why. That
is bizarre.
The one loyalty program that matters the most to me. But Delta has an awesome app, though. I think I love Delta. Just had an update to their app that's now letting you book flights through the app. It's very convenient, very cool.
Now, what do you think? I mean, like you're saying, it is kind of like this one place on your phone to bring all that information. What do you think of it compared to like Passbook on the iPhone that's built in? I haven't really played around with that.
I don't like Passbook. I
love it, but for me, it's something completely different. I don't know.
Yeah, it's totally different.
That's just for individual tickets. So, like for example, I used it for my Delta ticket, but that you can't keep track of other things. I have my Starbucks gift card in there, but it's very limited actually.
Yeah, loyalty cards. Starbucks gift cards. Whenever I fly out United, since we've got a huge hub here in Houston, and all my work tickets pop up in Passbook for all my airfare, and just be able to scan right there, and that works great. It does get annoying in Passbook though, because if you don't clear it out, it keeps popping up and annoying you every 5 minutes. It's kind of nuts.
Well, I guess I got my answer. Then it's nothing like it.
Yeah. I don't use Passbook for anything.
You were saying sharing Tripit with other people, like my dad. Would he need to have the Tripit app or the version? Like if you have the paid version, would he need that paid version too, or no? Does it just send him an email?
No, because the sharing takes place with the free version too. So no, he doesn't have to have the Pro version. But yeah, as long as he's got an account on Tripit, and you designate him as somebody who can see just that trip. You can also designate people as part of your inner circle. They can see all your stuff. So your husband or wife, your secretary, your assistant, whoever.
That's a good question. We got a couple questions about security. And I assume that they're on secure servers and that your account is totally safe.
It is.
And then, like you said, you could designate certain people to see certain things.
But you're also not... you're not sharing... you're not putting anything in there. Your credit card information, for example, is not going in there. Yeah. Just the details about, your hotel confirmation number, dates, things like that.
Right.
How much ever information you want to share.
Right, exactly. So you designate who sees that. If you keep a trip private, you're the only one who sees it. If you designate, I want 4 people to be able to see only this trip. I don't want them to see all my stuff, just this particular trip. Then you can do that. Or you can set people as part of your inner circle, and they can see everything.
Yeah, that would be handy. My dad, he's always asking for flight numbers if we fly anywhere.
Yeah.
If I fly from Orlando to Tampa, he wants the flight number.
Exactly. And I found it to be this incredibly useful tool, and especially, it reads all Disney confirmations. So when, as you're especially for the chronic planners, as you're making all those priority seatings, just forwarding those emails right to Tripit. And it's putting them in order. It's giving you all the information right in a very easy to access format right on your phone. There's no fuss, no muss. It's fantastic. We're planning the trip we have coming up in May is a very, very big trip. We're going to talk about that in a couple of weeks. But we have this really big trip coming up in May with a lot of components. We're on a lot of flights, a lot of hotels, rental cars, all these different elements. And just to be able to forward those confirmations off to Tripit and have a nice organized version of it right on the phone, available to me no matter where I am, really helps. It's an unbelievable tool. And especially, like I said, the best parts of it are free. If the watching the airfare and some of the other stuff is important to you, it's absolutely worth the $49. If you fly a lot, it happens constantly. The prices will adjust, and sometimes they only adjust for a couple of days. So if the price goes down on your flight and you don't get to it, you don't know about it, and it goes back up again, you can't call Delta and say, for 2 days the price was $30 less. I want the refund. It's the price at that moment. So when you get that notice from Tripit, you get on the phone and you call them and say, "Hey, look, I want my money." And
I know. I was shrieked like a little girl when my Germany airplane tickets came in and on Tripit. And it's like, oh, it's real. It's...
Now, how do you have? I didn't realize it did this. How do you have it set up to scrub your email account?
I believe there's a setting inside your account profile on Tripit that allows it to go in and.
Oh, that's right. You're right. That's right. I have seen that.
You set your email address up and any other trust email addresses that it will look for reservations or anything like that, and then it will pre-populate it, format it completely inside of your
sharing too much.
No, that's too much. That's too much for me. That for me is a step over the line. I'll control what it gets. I don't want anything scouring my email accounts.
I just have one email address set up that's dedicated for travel, and that's the only.
That would be different. That's probably not a terrible idea either. Having one email address set up dedicated to travel.
When you have 55 email addresses,
Well, I know. Hello. I'm not kidding. I probably get about 2,000 emails a day.
Pete at xdomain.com.
Yeah, that one too. So, Tripit Pro, absolutely love it. Go use it. Use nothing else ever again. I'm telling you. Go do that now. So we have some questions coming in on Twitter, and that you want to ask me?
I asked quite a few while we were doing the segment.
Oh, okay. You've been asking as we've been going.
Yeah.
I just thought those were your questions. You're passing them off as you are.
Yeah, I'm taking credit
for a few questions. No, I was just saying that's what you said is I have a few questions.
Did I? I didn't know I claimed them as my own.
He's claiming them as his own.
Yeah. Basically read them.
Okay.
That was it. Those are great.
All right. So unless anybody has anything else, I think we can close out our very first ever travel tech show. This has been a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun buying things to talk about. and I'll have more fun buying more things to talk about in the future. How often we're going to do this, I'm not sure yet, but I know there'll be another one of these shows in the next month or so. So it depends on Mike's schedule. It's all about him.
It's all about me.
So thanks very much for joining us, everybody. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back with you again next time with another edition of the Diz Unplugged. Talk to you soon. Stay out of the damn lakes.